My husband said he needed space to find himself. He moved into a downtown apartment I helped furnish, promised it was temporary. A week later, I got tagged in a photo. He was in Mexico, holding hands with a girl half my age. The caption read, "Finally living life right." I sold the furniture, canceled his car insurance, and told his boss he'd quit. He came back to nothing. "Where's all my stuff?" he asked. I smiled and said I donated it to someone finding their self. His girlfriend left 2 days later. "Too much drama," she said. "Now he's sleeping on his sister's floor." My name's Marcy. I'm 42. I live in Dayton, Ohio. I've been married, or was married, for 16 years to a guy named Ben. We met when we were young, around 24, back when everything feels shiny and full of possibilities. He was charming, funny, a little rough around the edges, but that's what I liked about him. We were best friends first. The kind of couple people said would last. We built a good life. Got a small house in Kettering. Upgraded over time to a bigger one. Nothing crazy, but nice. New roof, big yard, 2 used cars that ran fine. We weren't rich, but we were stable. We made plans. Retirement by 55 if we played our cards right. Travel. Maybe buy an RV and drive across the country. I honestly thought we were happy. At least, I was. Around Thanksgiving last year, Ben started acting weird. Distant. Always on his phone. Always shutting doors. Going outside to take a work call that lasted over an hour. I'd wake up at night, and he wouldn't be in bed. He'd be downstairs texting, pretending to be watching TV with the volume so low you couldn't hear it. When I brought it up, he brushed me off. "You're imagining things," he said once, without even looking up from his phone. "Work's crazy right now. I'm just stressed. You're smothering me." It made me feel stupid. Like I was some nagging housewife in a Lifetime movie. So, I backed off. Tried to be supportive. Then, right after Christmas, he sat me down at the kitchen table. No warning. He said, "Real serious. I need space, Marcy. I need to figure out who I am. I've been living my whole life by other people's rules." I just stared at him. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "I'm not asking for a divorce," he said quickly, like that made it better. I need to live by myself for a little while. Think about what I want." I started crying, right there at the table. I couldn't even stop it. He just sat there, stone-faced, like he'd already moved on in his mind. "I'll get an apartment downtown," he said. "It'll be temporary. A month, tops. I'm not seeing anyone, I swear. I just need time." Against every screaming instinct inside me, I agreed. Because love makes you stupid. I even helped him. Like a damn fool, I helped him move. Picked out a little one-bedroom loft near Oregon District. It wasn't fancy, but it had a nice view of the river. I bought him a couch, a bed, a coffee table, dishes, towels, a damn Keurig because he'd need coffee. We put it all together over a weekend. He kissed me on the forehead when I left. Said, "Thank you for understanding." I went home and cried for 2 days straight. The first week without him was a blur. I barely ate. My friends tried to take me out, but I couldn't even fake a smile. Every time I heard the garage door open, my heart jumped. Then sank when I remembered. He wasn't coming home. Then it happened. Friday afternoon. Sitting in the break room at work, scrolling Facebook on my lunch break. Bam! A photo popped up. I had been tagged. Ben. On a beach. In Mexico. Smiling bigger than I'd seen in years. Holding hands with a girl who looked like she hadn't even finished college yet. Blonde, tan, wearing one of those little strappy bikinis like she was auditioning for some trashy reality show. The caption read, "Finally living life right, #BVibes, #new beginnings." I almost threw my phone across the room. I sat there, shaking, rereading it 100 times like maybe I'd hallucinated. But no, it was real. And it hit me harder than anything ever had. This wasn't about finding himself. This was about finding someone else. And while I was sitting at home worrying myself sick, he was playing house with a girl half my age, drinking fruity cocktails on a beach somewhere, living it up like a king. The rage built slow at first. A cold kind of anger. The kind that sits deep in your bones. And I decided, right then and there, that if he wanted space, he was going to get it. Real, empty, miserable space. First thing I did was drive to his apartment. I had a spare key, he had given it to me just in case. I walked in and it was just sad. His stupid little setup. Posters on the walls, fridge full of junk food, laundry in piles. Like a sad frat boy trying to pretend he was grown. I took everything I had bought. The couch, the bed, the coffee maker, every plate, every fork, every towel, the shower curtain, even the damn bath mat. I sold what I could that night on Facebook Marketplace. Dirt cheap. Didn't care about making money, just wanted it gone. Whatever didn't sell, I loaded into my SUV and dropped off at Goodwill. The next morning, I called the car insurance company. I took him off the plan. No insurance equals no driving. Simple. Then I called his boss at the marketing firm. I left a cheerful voicemail. Hey, just letting you know Ben has decided to take an extended leave. He won't be back. Thought you'd want a heads up. Ben had burned through all his vacation days. No PTO left. No FMLA filed. He just ghosted. Boss didn't appreciate that. They filled his position within a week. A week later, he rolled into the driveway like nothing had happened. His old BMW, dusty from the road. Tan skin. Aviator sunglasses. Smug grin. I stayed sitting on the porch swing. Calm. He walked up, dragging a duffel bag behind him, looking confused the second he got inside. He looked around, blinking like he couldn't believe it. No couch. No TV. No photos. Nothing but bare walls and empty floors. He turned to me, panicked. Where's all my stuff? I smiled real soft. I donated it. Figured someone else could use it. You know, someone trying to find themselves. His mouth opened and closed like a fish. No words came out. He stormed around, checking every room like maybe I was hiding his stuff somewhere. Nope. Gone. He tried calling his apartment leasing office. They told him he had broken the lease rules, left it vacant without notice. Lease terminated. Deposit gone. Then, when he got pulled over the next morning on his way to figure things out, he found out his precious BMW didn't have insurance anymore. They impounded it on the spot. As for his little girlfriend, word got around fast. Apparently, she dumped him 2 days later. Too much drama, she said. Blocked him on everything. Now he's crashing on his sister's couch, trying to get a job, trying to get a car, trying to figure out how he blew up his whole life for a few weeks of fun in the sun. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? You'd think he'd crawl away in shame and let me live in peace. But no, Ben didn't go quietly. About 2 weeks after he got back and found his life burned to the ground, he started texting me. At first, it was just random, desperate messages. We need to talk. I made a mistake. Can we start over? I ignored every one of them. Then he started calling, leaving voicemails. Marcy, please. I messed up. You're my wife. We're supposed to fix things. It was just a phase. She didn't mean anything. Hearing his voice begging was almost satisfying if it wasn't so pathetic. I still didn't answer. That's when he showed up at the house again. Uninvited. I was out front, pulling weeds from the flower bed, when his sister's minivan pulled into the driveway. Ben got out, looking worse than I'd ever seen him. Hair messy, dirty clothes, dark circles under his eyes. He walked up slow, hands in his pockets like some kid getting called into the principal's office. Can we talk? He asked, voice cracking. I stood up, brushed the dirt off my hands, and looked him dead in the eye. Talk about what? I said. How you threw away 16 years for a girl who spells blessed wrong. He winced like I slapped him. I was stupid, he mumbled. I was scared. I thought I missed out on life. You did, I said flatly. Your own. He just stood there, shifting from foot to foot. Then he said the thing that almost made me laugh out loud. I think we can fix this. Fix this? Like it was a leaky faucet. I crossed my arms. How exactly do you think that's gonna work, Ben? You lied. You cheated. You humiliated me. You expect me to just pretend that didn't happen. He looked up, desperate. I'll change. I swear. I'll get a new job. Get counseling. Anything you want. Please, Marcy. Please. For a split second, I saw the old Ben, the one I loved. The one I built a life with. But he wasn't real anymore. The man in front of me wasn't him. He was just the broken pieces of what he used to be. No, I said, my voice steady. You made your choice. Now live with it. He opened his mouth like he was going to argue, but I turned around and went back to pulling weeds. After a few minutes, I heard the van start up and drive away. I thought that was the last of it. I was wrong. Over the next few weeks, Ben started getting ugly. Since begging didn't work, he tried blame. Started telling anyone who would listen that I had abandoned him, that I was cold and unforgiving, that I gave up on our marriage too easily. Some of his family, people I used to call my own, started giving me side eyes at the grocery store, like I was the villain. He even posted some vague Facebook statuses. Funny how loyalty is a one-way street for some people. People change when they get comfortable. Sometimes the real you doesn't come out until it's too late. Pathetic. And yet, a few people fell for it. People I thought were friends. They started messaging me, asking what happened. Why I couldn't forgive. Why I had to be so dramatic. That hurt more than I thought it would. It made me question myself for a hot minute. Maybe I was being too harsh. Maybe I should have fought harder to fix it. But then I'd remember. I didn't walk away. He did. He packed his bag. He held another woman's hand. He smiled in a photo while I sat at home crying. I wasn't the villain here. And I sure as hell wasn't going to be painted as one. So I decided if he wanted to play dirty, I'd play smarter. First, I gathered everything. Screenshots of the Mexico photos. Screenshots of his girlfriend's posts. Screenshots of the DMs he sent me begging to come back. All time-stamped. All clear. Then I printed them out. Every single one. I didn't post them online. I didn't scream at him in public. I just quietly mailed them. To his parents. To his sister. To his boss's home address, courtesy of a little Google search. To a couple of our mutual friends who had been whispering behind my back. No note. No explanation. Just the truth, straight from the source. Let them draw their own conclusions. Within days, the whispering stopped. The side eyes vanished. The apology texts started coming in. Even his mom, who had always adored him, sent me a long message. I'm so sorry, Marcy. You deserved better. But Ben? Ben wasn't done yet. Because when losers can't win back what they lost, they start trying to destroy it. And he still had one more low move left to play. So after all the lies, the gaslighting, the failed pity attempts, Ben did what cowards always do when they run out of options. He tried to mess with my job. I've worked at the same company, an accounting firm in Dayton, for over 10 years. I'm reliable, good at what I do, and trusted. My boss knows me. My team depends on me. It's not just a job, it's a place I helped build. One morning, I walked into work, coffee in hand, and something felt off. My manager, Carla, was standing at my desk with a tight smile. Hey, Marcy, she said gently. Mind stepping into my office for a second? My stomach dropped. I followed her, heart pounding. She sat behind her desk and slid a sheet of paper across the table toward me. An anonymous complaint. Accusing me of misusing company funds, of fudging mileage reports, of submitting fraudulent timesheets. It was detailed, real sounding, and clearly written by someone who knew where I worked and what I did. I knew immediately who it was from. I didn't do this, I said, my voice shaking with fury. This is a lie. Carla nodded. I believe you. We're doing our due diligence, but I've worked with you too long to think any of this is real. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Keep your guard up. I walked out of that office shaking. That piece of garbage tried to get me fired. When begging didn't work, and guilt didn't work, and smearing my name didn't work, he went for my livelihood. He thought if he couldn't have me, he could take down everything I had left. What he didn't know is that I had receipts. Literal receipts. A few months back, I had found something in our joint Dropbox folder that I hadn't looked at in years. An old backup of his email. It had everything. I hadn't touched it, hadn't looked at it. But now, it was time. I went home, logged into that folder, and opened it up. And there it was. Everything. Emails from years back, when he was traveling for work, hooking up with random women he met at trade shows. Emails to a woman in Cleveland. One in Indianapolis. One I now realized had messaged me on Facebook once, calling me a desperate loser. I'd blocked her without thinking. Photos. Conversations. Even screenshots he'd sent his buddies, bragging about how his wife would never know. He'd been cheating for years. Mexico wasn't the beginning. It was just the first time he got caught. And now I had proof. Not just of the Mexico girl, but of every lie, every betrayal, every disgusting, smug move. I sat there, staring at the screen, my hands gripping the mouse so tight my knuckles hurt. I had a decision to make. And I already knew what it was. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't even going to tell him what I had found. I was going to destroy him quietly, the same way he tried to destroy me. First, I made copies of everything. Printed emails. Printed screenshots. Printed photos. I organized it all neatly into a big brown envelope. Then I sent it. Not to Ben. I sent it to his new boss. The one at the cheap call center job he barely scraped together after getting fired from the marketing firm. I mailed another copy to his sister, the one whose couch he was sleeping on. Another one went to his parents. And another one to the little girlfriend who had dumped him. Each packet came with a simple note inside. Since you seem to know only half the story, here's the other half. No threats. No demands. Just cold, hard truth. The fallout was immediate. 3 days after the packages arrived, I got a text from an unknown number. It was his sister. Marcy, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I kicked him out this morning. He's not welcome here anymore. Then another text. His mother. Please know you didn't deserve any of this. We're ashamed. Word must have gotten around because suddenly Ben's little social circle dried up overnight. No more Facebook posts about finding himself. No more snide remarks. He deleted his accounts. All of them. Gone like he never existed. But life wasn't done kicking him yet. Because remember that BMW he loved so much? Without a job, without insurance, and now living out of his car most nights, he couldn't afford the payments. I checked the local court records because honestly, I couldn't help myself. Sure enough. Repossession order filed. They took the car right off the street one night. Gone. The last I heard, he was crashing on a friend's couch in West Dayton, trying to piece together odd jobs, begging people for rides, and blaming everyone else for why his life turned to trash. And me? After everything, I finally filed for divorce. I did it clean and simple. No screaming. No drama. Just handed the lawyer the paperwork and let the process move forward. Ben didn't even fight it. Probably couldn't afford to. The court gave me the house since he had abandoned it. I refinanced it in my name only. I kept the SUV. Kept my job. Kept my dignity. Ben walked away with nothing but the clothes on his back and a bunch of burned bridges he'll never fix. Looking back, part of me hates how much time I wasted loving someone who didn't deserve it. I hate how stupid I felt, how small he made me feel. But another part of me knows this. I didn't lose. He did. He lost a wife who would have stood by him through anything. He lost a home, a family, real love. And all for what? A few cheap trips to Mexico and a girl who couldn't even handle one bad week without bailing. He thought he was finding himself. Turns out, he found exactly what he deserved. Nothing.